His killing, his assassination, his murder, simply the most brutal and awful thing. No, Starmer wants to pretend that I don't exist. Snub me, Starmer, if you like. I don't really care.
Joining us now, Nigel Farage. Mr. Farage, you are a good friend of President Trump's. Do you feel you've been snubbed a little bit by not being invited to the grand banquet tonight at Windsor Castle?
No, I've been snubbed a lot.
Davey
got an invite. Look, I don't expect anything from this government at all. And you can argue, if you like, it's the King's invitation. It's not really, is it? No, Starmer wants to pretend that I don't exist. Do you know, he doesn't even answer my letters. I've only sent him 3. And the last one was, could we have a few peers, please? Because it seems to make sense. So look, look, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He won't be there for that long. Let them have a lovely evening. I was in the Oval Office a couple of weeks ago. Last night, I was chatting with Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent. We even had a reception in DC the other week with double digits numbers of cabinet ministers. So snub me, Starmer, if you like. I don't really care.
Donald Trump and Keir Starmer very chummy in person.
Oh, absolutely. So much in common. So much in common.
The great
extroverts, big personalities, successful entrepreneurs, king golfers. So much in common. It's remarkable.
But privately, you and I both know that Donald Trump, as I suggest, questioned his ratings to put it in TV terms that the president might understand and put it politely. How sustainable do you think this relationship really is, given that there are a number of issues on America's agenda: free speech, India, trade, tech, taxes, to name but a few? Do you think it's going to, the chumminess is going to last, or do you think the president might do what he's done in the past and start to take a few swings of the bat tomorrow?
Look, I'll end the sarcasm for a moment, right? We should view ourselves as being incredibly lucky that we have an American president with such a deep, emotional, soft spot for the United Kingdom. That is to Starmer's advantage. Starmer himself, of course, also is personable and polite, doesn't cause offense, and has gone out of his way to be nice to the American president. So on that level, Trump likes him, sees no threat from him, and that's a good thing. But I thought when they sat in the big chairs at Turnberry a few weeks ago, and Trump was asked about electoral prospects in Britain, he said, sure, Keir can beat my friend Nigel, as long as he's tough on borders, tough on law and order, and drills lots of oil and gas in the North Sea. So, you can make your own mind up what that really meant. We've got a great relationship with this administration as a country, and that's a really good thing.
Surely the easiest thing for Keir Starmer to do now, he's looking for a new man in Washington, is to send you out there, try and neuter reform by giving you Peter Mandelson's job. Presumably that ship sailed, right?
Well, in 2017, Trump himself tweeted, Nigel Farage would make a very good ambassador. It didn't happen then. It won't happen now. It's a great shame because the wine cellar's amazing. But there you are. We're probably going to get, an MI6 boss or someone like that. And also, even if I was offered the job, how could I possibly take it now that I'm leader of reform?
You see the president recently. Does he consider you? Have you spoken about the fact that if the general election was held in the UK tomorrow, you were going to be the prime minister? Does he know that?
He knows that. He knows that. In fact, all the American administration are acutely aware of it, and they think they see some similarities in what they've done and what we've done. And you know what? We speak the same language. We share a culture, but of course our politics is very, very different. Other than one thing. One of the big reasons that Trump got elected is he said he would stop illegal migrants coming into America through the southern border. Looking at my numbers, they're down by over 90%. And I kind of think that dynamic in the American election will play out in the British general election whenever that happens too.
I know we don't have much time, sir, so I'm going to push you on an issue which I think is going to dominate, the press conference tomorrow in some form, and that is free speech. You were at Congress last week in DC. We saw you there. You made some very forthright points on what is going on in the United Kingdom, the case of Lucy Connolly, the case of Graham Linehan. Have you raised that privately with the president, and is he aware of how bad things are?
I may have discussed it with some members of the administration. I can't quite remember, Harry, is my diplomatic answer to you. They are very worried indeed about it because, as I said already in this talk, we share a culture. We watch the same films. We listen to the same music. We read the same books. They believe in their First Amendment rights very, very strongly. They believe in free speech up to the moment where you shout fire in a theatre or genuinely incite.
Yes.
And I would be very surprised if these weren't very important parts of the private discussion that take place at Chequers tomorrow. After all, an American tech entrepreneur could now be arrested at Heathrow Airport, despite not being a British citizen, for something said when they weren't even in this country. And if you're seriously talking about 20 to 30 billion of investment into the UK by tech giants, etc., that conversation absolutely has to happen.
And one more, if I may. We can't really talk about the free speech, the debate about it, without referencing the horrific incident in Utah last week. I know Charlie Kirk was a friend of yours. I know you were close with him. Can I get your reflections on what's happened and what you think his legacy should be and what his legacy could be?
Charlie was an amazing guy. He wasn't just a powerful orator. He wasn't just somebody who had very strong, very fundamental beliefs with Christianity, deep Christianity, right at the root of it. The skill of Charlie was he was prepared to openly debate and to do it in a civil manner, anyone would disagree with him. And so often in the polarity of American politics, you get CNN or Fox News, and everybody on Fox thinks one thing. Everybody on CNN thinks the opposite. And we don't really have much good cross debate. Charlie was brilliant at talking to people with totally different worldviews. And in that sense, he served the democratic cause for young people in America in the most remarkable way. His killing, his assassination, his murder, simply the most brutal and awful thing. I have managed not to look at the close-up video shots of it, although I've been sent it on my phone. It's brutal, ghastly for his children, who have to live with that forever. Very bad news for free speech. Can something good come out of the murder of Charlie Kirk? Just maybe it will. Just maybe it will, in a sense that more and more young people will start to look at what Charlie had to say, start thinking and talking about it. I personally feel desperately sad.
I can imagine, and I think if the left think they're going to silence him by that, I think a lot of microphones are going to be picked up in that cause. Do you think the temperature is too high on both sides of the Atlantic, though? Are you worried about, you are an outspoken public figure. Are you worried that we're going in a very dangerous direction? Are you concerned about your own safety?
I'm very worried that what I say should be considered outspoken, when all I stand up for are things that normal countries do. Normal countries make their own laws, govern themselves, control their borders, and try and enforce law and order within their countries. The fact that those views that I have, which when I was a kid were mainstream, are now considered outspoken, shows you how much trouble the Western world is in. When it comes to my own safety and security, well, you know what? Of course, being a public figure is a risky old game.
Well, you look after yourself, Mr. Farage. Thank you for joining us on Save the West. A very poignant note to end that. Thank you for joining us.